So friends, have you ever had a moment when the fog cleared and everything just got crystal clear? And I literally had a revelation that all of this is not about self-care. This is not about the Mediterranean diet, not even about strength training. This is not even about like having a workout routine. What this is all about is about prioritizing you. It's about taking your crazy, busy, stressed out days that are overwhelming with life happening, and it's getting super locked in and clear so that you know exactly what you are doing each and every week to prioritize all of those things that make you the best, the most fullest, vibrant version of you as a busy mom. Together, we're going to take a step deeper in this brand new direction that I'm taking the podcast. But please don't worry. We are not losing all of those good things that you've loved. We're just going to dive in deeper and make it more clear. Because what is the Mediterranean diet if you don't have time to meal prep? What is living for the Lord if you don't have time to get in the Word of God? What's the purpose of having a plan to strength train when you don't have time or the priority to fit that into your schedule and into your life? So it's time to prioritize, and I hope you're ready. So let's dig in. Hey, do you feel frazzled with the multitude of things that need to get done and all of them done like right now? Are you running on fumes with zero time for yourself? And is your brain cluttered with the endless lists of things that you need to remember? Welcome to Priorities for Busy Moms. I'm your host, Susan. That was me, overwhelmed with my family schedule, running on fumes to keep the family humming along and finding zero time to simply take a deep breath. But then through prayerful prioritizing, I found ways to care for myself and for my family with Christ. I can't wait to share them with you too. So get your earbuds on and open your planner and Bible. It's time to prioritize. Friend, I invite you to join me in my Meal Plan Mediterranean Prioritizing Family Dinner Workshop on Tuesday, April 14, 2026 at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for 1 hour. We will go step by step into the basic elements that you can prepare ahead of time so that you can make any night of the week a Mediterranean night. I'll also be giving away a door prize at the event. You don't want to miss out. So the link is susanro.myflowdesk.com/workshop. Again, that's susanro.myflowdesk.com/workshop. There'll be a downloadable workbook that we'll be using in the workshop. You don't have to figure this out alone, Mama. Hey, friend. So if you hear birds tweeting in the background or cars in the background humming by, I just wanted to let you know that I am literally recording this in my car while my kids are in their spring break activities. So I apologize in advance if there are background distractions, but here we go. This is life, and we kind of roll with whatever comes our way. So let's talk about today's topic because I am super duper excited about this new revelation that I am diving deeper into. And so I've been talking about self-care and why that is so important to us as moms, as busy moms, because we need to pour into ourselves and care for our bodies and our health and steward it well so that we can pour into our family and to those around us. And I agree, self-care is super important. Exercising is important. Eating well and eating nutrient-dense foods and eating with the Mediterranean diet, all of that is so important. Growing in our gifts and talents are very important. All of these are so important, but all of these come under the greater importance of the time that we have and the priorities that we place to make anything happen. And while self-care, health, nutrition, exercise is all important, so is eating together as a family, taking care of family needs, and a multitude of other things that we have either committed to or are responsible for, not to mention the many life emergencies that come our way that requires reprioritization of things. So this is the revelation. It's that everything comes down to aligning our priorities at any given season or time so that you can live out all that God has for you on this side of heaven. This is so critical so that you can have clarity, peace, and purpose regardless of whatever comes your way, and that you can live out your fullest and best life that God already planned for you. We're going to get super clear on our priorities and super dialed in on what the most important thing that we need to focus on any given season of our lives. We'll still discuss self-care and eating well and moving our bodies, but it's all actually under the lens of how you can prioritize this as a busy mom so that you have greater clarity and a sense of purpose in everything that you do. Because all of this matters for your health and for your long-term strength. If these essentials are not prioritized, we're going to essentially be trying to pour out to our family from an empty well within us, which means that we'll be drained, we'll be exhausted, overwhelmed, and definitely not at peace. So let's talk a bit about time. I mean, we all get the same 24 hours for each day, but how are we organizing our days or prioritizing things so that it's aligned to where God is directing you? Because ultimately, how we use our time, the 24 hours in a day that we all get, is about stewardship. Stewardship is important for us with finance. It's important to steward our body. It's important for so many other areas of our lives. And in the same way, it's also important to steward our time. How we steward and align our time primarily depends on our set of priorities, whether we realize it or not. Time is not just a productivity issue, but it's a spiritual stewardship issue. Now, Ephesians 5:15-16 says, "Therefore, see that you walk carefully, living life with honor, purpose, and courage, shunning those who tolerate and enable evil, not as the unwise, but as wise, sensible, intelligent, and discerning people, making the most of your time on earth, recognizing and taking advantage of each opportunity and using it with wisdom and diligence, because the days are filled with evil." So, based upon these two verses, we're learning that we can live wisely and intentionally with our time. God alone knows how many days that we have on this earth. Because of that, the time that we have is a gift from God. Our role is to steward that gift in a way that will bring Him glory. So, friend, I want to say that balance doesn't exist. People talk about balancing everything, and in my opinion, that actually creates more stress. It gives the feeling that everything needs to be addressed and they all need to fit in perfectly in a 24-hour span. And my dear friend, this is just not possible. It results in greater anxiety and frustration, and I know because I personally tried to do this. I tried to fit it all in. I just tried to schedule all the things for my exercise, my needs, my family needs, and all of the activities down to the minutes. And it literally stressed me out when things slowed down because maybe of a traffic pattern change, or if my kids got sick, or any other unexpected things that came up. I was a slave to my schedule and my list. This was an over control of my schedule. Well, when I gave up on that over control, I literally swung the other way on the pendulum and didn't schedule anything other than the schedule of my kids' activities. And that's when I also realized that I was always reacting to life and everything felt like an emergency.
I was living reactively by responding to whatever came my way. And this ended up ultimately prioritizing the biggest fire to put out or the most urgent thing to address, whether it's a family emergency or a deadline that needed to be met. It was a constant stress. So ideally, you do want to live intentionally by setting your priorities in the order that God is leading you in this season, because there are seasons in our lives. And we live in a tension between intentionality and surrender. The balance is really not in balancing everything with work, home, our health, and self-care, but you know what it is? It's actually balancing intentionality while surrendering all the variables into God's hands. We want to go ahead and make plans that line up to our priorities and then work diligently, but we must also remain sensitive to the Holy Spirit's leading and to any emergencies or changes that come up our way, as they sometimes do. So to be flexible. Ephesians 3:10 says that there is a time for everything. And life happens in seasons. And I did touch upon this. There are seasons in our life. And seasons require different priorities. And our priorities, they're going to shift depending on the season that we're in. I had a season where I had a career before kids, but after having my kids, there was a season of being a stay-at-home mom. This was a shifting of my priorities. And when we shift our priorities, it determines the decisions that we make. So I made that decision based upon the priority that I needed to stay home because my kids mattered. It was important for me to steward the raising of our children and the next generation. So here are a couple of examples of seasons that may require a priority shift. Sometimes health challenges may come up, and that's where you may need to focus on prioritizing your healing and recovery. There might be family needs that change that will require a shifting of priorities, like, for example, children as they grow from being very little to school-aged and then to teens and then to young adult. There are different things that needs to happen at different stages, and our priority shifts. Maybe we have aging parents, or if there's a family crisis that may require attention. All of these will require a seasonal shift of our priorities. What if there's a work or career demand that is demanding that we have a season of realigning our priorities? Sometimes there's projects or deadlines that need to be met that require our priorities to shift for a season. Sometimes there's emergencies. Unexpected events may require us to reorganize our lives. So in every season, we really should be asking, Lord, what is the most important thing for me to focus on right now? What do we need to prioritize? When we have that moment to ask the Lord what I need to prioritize, the first thing is to really have a God-led vision for your life for this season. This is so critical to help you align your priorities correctly. But if you're not clear, honestly, that is totally okay. Sometimes I'm not clear on what I need to focus on in a particular season in life, but I'm asking the Lord, and this is when you want to spend some time with Jesus. Pray and ask Him what your vision for this season should be. Once you have clarity on this, this is really going to be your guiding post for everything in this particular season of your life. So when an opportunity comes up or when a decision needs to be made, you're going to have greater peace on what to do. Let God's peace be your guide once you have clarity on what God's priority is for you in the season. So once you have this vision from God, it could literally be a Bible verse that He impresses upon you for this particular season, or it could be a word for the year, or it could be a vision statement that you write down. It's a target, the focus for the season. So once we've got this vision, what do you do next? What do we prioritize, and how do we prioritize? So regardless of what our vision or direction is, there are basically 3 areas that we really need to constantly align and realign depending on the seasons of our lives. The first thing is to be growing in our faith and our relationship with Jesus. This means we need to spend time with Jesus, being in the Word, being in prayer, and worship daily. Now, how this will look may be different depending on your season. For example, in the summer, I'm able to dedicate a more structured morning devotional time with Jesus before the kids wake up. But once school starts, this time actually happens later in the morning after my kids are off to school and I'm back at home. But when it's really busy and I am literally out all day, this is also going to look more like a morning Bible listening from my Bible app while I'm dropping off my kids. And my time of prayer becomes a moment-by-moment communication with Jesus. I actually do this regardless of what I have on my schedule, but it becomes more pronounced when I don't have that dedicated, scheduled, quiet time. So how will it look for you in your current season of life? This is priority number 1. Finding time with Jesus. How does this look if you don't have hours dedicated to reading the Bible and praying and worshiping daily? Because truthfully, I could literally be doing this for hours if I had the choice. But if hours is not an option, could this be done in 30 minutes? Could it be done in 15 minutes? How would it look in different seasons of your life? So that's my question to you. How can you find time to spend time with Jesus in the season of life that you are in right now? Now, the next 2 priorities are really family and self-care. Family encompasses your marriage, your children, your extended family. This has to do with everything to do with your family needs, the support that they're going to need, the carpooling or maybe driving around to their activities, the planning, the scheduling, the cooking, the cleaning, the delegating, all of that stuff. That's all under the umbrella of family. Now, there's also self-care. That's another priority. And this has to do with everything that's essential for you to care for yourself with your mind, body, soul. Are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? Are you getting exercise? Are you growing in something, whether it's your interest, passion, or giftings? These 2 priorities, family and self-care, they're going to flex and change according to the season of your life. If your kids are little and they are very dependent on you, or whether they're older and independent, it's all going to look different. So there are so many factors and variables to prioritizing. So let me ask you a few questions. What is God calling you to focus on in this season? What distractions need boundaries? Where do you need rest? Is your calendar aligned with the long-term God-led vision for you? Now, there's another priority that I'm not going to discuss here, and that priority is for work. And I'm not going to be discussing it in today's episode because work can easily take over the other 3 priorities. As a working mom, I know this to be true. The struggle is often trying to find time or the priority to pay attention and to devote time to our self-care, to our family when we're working, and to find time with Jesus. Now, I'll address the work issue on another episode, but today, the 3 priorities that we really need to try to find time in our schedule, priorities that we need to align with the seasons of our life, would be our time with Jesus, our family commitments, as well as our self-care needs. Now, Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek first the kingdom of God." Your calendar often reveals what your real priorities are. So time, it reveals what we value. And life is short. Time is limited, but our calling is not random. God has given each of us a purpose, a season, a stewardship of time. So let's prioritize our time. Steward your time like it's sacred, because it is. Now, do you need to realign things so that you're able to have time to meal plan, to get a home-cooked meal on the table for the family? You know that home-cooked meals are healthier, they're more economical, and they benefit the children far more than just being fed. Research has shown that family dinner acts as a keystone habit by triggering a chain reaction of positive behaviors, strengthening emotional, physical, and academic health. Regular, scheduled meals foster better communication, higher self-esteem, improved nutrition, and lower risks of substance abuse and depression, while creating a secure, cohesive family unit. I understand that it just seems so hard to meal plan in the midst of all the busy. I've got you covered. I'm hosting a free live 1-hour workshop called Meal Plan Mediterranean Prioritizing Family Dinner Workshop on Tuesday, April 14, 2026 at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will go step by step into the basic elements that you can prepare ahead of time so that you can make any night of the week a Mediterranean night. I'll also be giving away a door prize at the event. So the link is susanro.myflowdesk.com/workshop. Again, that's susanro.myflowdesk.com/workshop. God bless you, sister.
Hey Mama, thank you for listening to the end. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you share this episode and bless another mom who's in the weeds of all the busy and the overwhelm? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. This matters so much to this show so that it can help other overwhelmed, exhausted, and busy moms. Together, we can encourage one another to prioritize everything important in our lives for our peace, our health, and our self-care, because it matters to your families and for future generations to come. You're making a generational impact. God bless you, sister.